Hi, I'm Tami Holmes at Tami Holmes Realty. Today we're going to talk about potentially alarming headlines in the news. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, one of the biggest questions you have right now is probably what's happening with home prices. And it's no surprise that you don't have clarity when you are talking about this topic. Part of the issue is how headlines are talking about prices. They're basing their negative news by comparing current stats to the last few years. But you can't compare this year to the unicorn years when home prices reached record highs that were unsustainable. And as prices begin to normalize now, they're talking about it like it's a bad thing and making people fear what's next. But the worst home price declines are already behind us. As a matter of fact, our area didn't see much in the way of decline, if any. What we're starting to see now is the return to a more normal home price appreciation. To help make home price trends easier to understand, let's focus on what's typical for the market and omit the last few years since they're anomalies. We start by talking about seasonality in real estate. In the housing market, there are predictable ebbs and flows that happen each year. Spring is the peak home buying season when the market is most active. That activity is typically strong in the summer, but begins to wane as the cooler months approach. Home prices follow along with seasonality because prices appreciate most when something is in high demand. That's why before the abnormal years we just experienced, there was a reliable long-term home price trend. The graph below shows data from Case-Shiller to show typical monthly home price movement from 1973 through 2021. And it's not adjusted, so you'll be able to see the seasonality. As you look at the chart, the data from the last 48 years shows at the beginning of the year, home prices grow, but not as much as they do entering the spring and summer markets. That's because the market is less active in January and February since fewer people move in the colder months. As the market transitions into the peak home buying season in the spring, activity ramps up and home prices go up a lot more in response. Then as fall and winter approach, activity eases again. Price growth slows, but still typical appreciation. In the coming months, as the housing market moves further into a more predictable seasonal rhythm, you're going to see even more headlines that either know what's happening with home prices or they make misleading statements. They're going to mistake the slowing home price growth, which is called deceleration of appreciation, that's typical of market seasonality in the fall and winter, and think prices are falling, which they call a depreciation. Don't let those headlines confuse you or spark fear. Instead, remember it's normal to see a deceleration of appreciation, slowing home price growth as the months go by. If you have questions about what's happening with home prices in our local market, let's connect. Call me at 1-800-722-2585.